doesn't occur to me that maybe I hurt them. Okay, on these problems, I don't like the way this is set up on Webassign because they force you to put in things into the boxes. So it's almost like they pollute you into going to the path that they want you to go through. But if you think about it, that's the only way they can make you do this kind of a problem. So they're trying to get you to do an identity problem. It doesn't matter for us since it's not for grade. So I would suggest that you take a series of steps and play around with it and see if you come to the final answer. And if you don't want to go through their steps, just do what you want to do and then see the final answer and see if it matches up. Like go put in 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 a few times until you get the right answer and see if it matches up. What if 1 is the answer? That would be alpha, right? You put in 1, it was the answer. So they force you to go their way. How do you do this systematically? Well, step 1, transform the left-hand side of this identity that they have, the secant squared plus cosecant. Transform that into sines and cosine. Red list. I think there's a TV show called Red List, right? I'm watching it with, was it Blacklist? I'm watching it with my son. Was it Blacklist where this guy, he just shows up and he wants to talk to this girl named Elizabeth Keene? And we just started, we watched like 3 episodes yesterday. It's good. So I should have written it in black, then you would remember Blacklist. So I changed the secant squared, that's 1 over cosine squared, and the cosecant squared is 1 over sine squared from the red list, not the black list. Step 2 is to combine them. How do I combine it? Students had trouble with this last semester. Combining fractions, you get a common denominator. So you need to look at the bottom of each side and make sure they're the same. So how do I make them the same? Well, this bottom over here, the cosine squared, it's lonely, it's missing a sine squared. So I'm going to put a green sine squared there. Well, whatever I do to the bottom, I also have to do to the top. So I have to multiply top and bottom by sine squared. And this side over here, the sine squared, it was missing a cosine squared. So I have to put it there. So I put it on bottom and top. And now the bottoms match. They're identical. And now I'm allowed to combine the fractions. The numerators get added, the denominator stays the same. So it's the same procedure you would use to add 1/2 plus 1/2. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2/2. The bottom stays the same, the tops get added. It's just that it's a little bit uglier looking than 1/2 plus 1/2. Same procedure. What's sine squared plus cosine squared?
1.
Famous.
1.
1. So that's 1 over sine squared cosine squared. That's the left side. I've dealt with the left side. I've just cleaned it up and that's what I get. David, agree? I was just worried that you're going to get imprint of your fingers on your face from sleeping in my class. I used to teach at Jersey City, and the students had really great things to say and rate my professors. They were really funny. One of the students said, and not my class, somebody else's class, that they had a permanent imprint of their binder's rings on the side of their face from falling asleep on their desk on top of their notebook. They said another one that was really funny. They said, my professor died 20 years ago, but she didn't know it, and she just kept on teaching. They're really clever. So what I have now, I just copied and pasted. That's what I have. Left side reduces to this. Now I'm going to check the right side. Do the same thing for the right side. Make all... Krishna liked that one, right? She died 20 years ago and she just kept teaching. I was scared to look at my own there. You have to laugh, though. They were funny.
Yeah, right. Basically,
Sometimes.
some of them.
You know, I've been teaching here a long time, so you can see kind of when I have babies, you can see that, because when you have a baby, it's a tough life. And So I'm tired all the time when I have the baby, and when I have something going on that's outside of teaching, you can tell. I can tell my career and how it's changed over time, because you can see that feedback from students. I like Rate My Professors because it's a form of feedback. So I take it seriously, whatever students say there. Also look at it like this. If a student gets on Rate My Professors and says something, and they're upset, they are so upset that they want to anonymously put something up somewhere. And if they became upset in my class like that, then I want to address it. I'd rather address it during the class itself so that there's still a chance to change it. So I like it as a method of feedback. All right, step 3, go ahead and change everything to sines and cosines. I'm going to get like 10 posts today, right? She died 20 years ago and she didn't know it. Secant squared times cosecant squared. I'm going to change that from the red list. It turns out that secant squared is 1 over cosine squared. Cosecant squared is 1 over sine squared. So I changed them to sines and cosines. So same procedures I did in step 1. And then simplify and compare left and right sides. Well, look at them. Are they the same? Yep, they're the same. It's just that the second one is cosine and sine, and the first one's sine and cosine. But 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2, right? So the 2 yellows are really the same. So what I mean by the final answer, see this little, they gave me the answer, so yours won't look like this unless you put 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 in there 5 times. Then you'll see the answer, but you see that they have equal. Since the left and right sides are, I guess this drop-down box should say equal, not equal. Since they're equal, it is an identity. So that's what they want. They want you to do these steps, but it's a computer, so it has to force you to do intermediate steps by filling in boxes. So that's where we get the answer. And I promised I would stop.